Chapter 14, Senior Year. You are the seniors of high school at a higher school of thought in your relationship. You do not have to reach your senior years of age before you arrive at the prime of life in maturity and cooperation within your marriage. The length of time you spend in each grade is totally up to you. A diligent student will sense when a testing period is approaching and be ready with a sharpened pencil at hand, nerves under control, and positive self-talk abounding. You have the ability to pass every test because we each are only tested at our respective grade levels. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. 1 Corinthians 10:13. You do not have to wait for your spouse to advance to the grade you are in before you settle into your new level of consciousness. Act your grade no matter how they are conducting themselves. Begin your study and homework in the next grade level and remind yourself that your responsibility in life is to control your behavior and your emotions, all the while not selfishly placing your needs at the center of the relationship while congruently being self-aware, focusing on self-control and self-improvement. Be concerned enough with yourself to place your interest for being happy and being at peace near the top of your priorities, understanding that your internal strength and tranquility is vital to your ability to see yourself through difficulties. When you achieve this, the goal becomes to see others through as well. When you master yourself, the people closest to you will be called to a higher level because iron sharpens iron. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Proverbs 27:17. Marriage currency, finances, and calculated decisions. Resolving money matters in marriage can be like taking a course in advanced calculus. For the student who takes applied courses in high school and gains credit toward college before it is even begun, college can be a less strenuous and head-pounding experience. Get a head start at removing classes from an already arduous college course schedule. Some students enter college so academically prepared and with credit from high school that their schedule and learning becomes easier and more enjoyable than previous years, while others are overwhelmed, stressed, tired, and working extra hard to succeed. For the couple willing to work on a mutually beneficial financial plan and find trust and camaraderie with each other in the dealings of money, marriage will flow, and your finances will respond in kind with a streaming current of possibilities. To quote my husband, there are poor people who are married, and there are rich people who are married. So having little or having plenty should not affect your relationship. Money should be a balance. A balance and not an earth-dividing quake? What a concept! We argue over what money belongs to whom, who gets to spend what, and what we intend to do, should be doing, or should not be doing with our finances. If you want to reach the senior level of marriage, the concepts of the previous grades should guide your decisions and understanding on resolving what works for your relationship financially. If the lights and the gas have to get cut off in your home because you or your spouse would rather take a vacation or buy a new pair of shoes over prioritizing responsibilities, you are still in elementary school in this area. Allow the literal darkness to illuminate the possibilities for change. Let the lights go out. Just let them get shut off. When we rescue someone from facing the consequences of their decisions, we take their exam for them. We plagiarize, we cheat the system, and that can get you kicked out of high school altogether. But you're probably thinking, but I'm going to have to suffer right along with them. Yes, but suffer now or suffer later and for many years until the lesson is learned. Not arguing with your spouse over paying a bill and allowing a consequence to befall you both is a calculated decision that many students struggle to resolve within their currency of marriage. The debate over sharing a bank account or having separate accounts goes back to sharing is caring in kindergarten. You don't get to college without getting through first grade. The way a couple decides to allocate funds, share, or have separate accounts will rely heavily upon the concepts of a cornerstone versus capstone marriage from Chapter 8. My observations of relationships have revealed to me that setting up separation in many forms is a marker for a challenge down the road and a predetermined point for easy escape from a challenge you are prepared to flee from rather than fight and conquer. Like every concept from this book, boundaries and self-control are a vital key to success and prosperity. If, like your other choices in marriage, your money is being spent to satisfy your emotions, you will be digging yourself out of holes more often than not. And like the Bible's lesson of the talents, wise investments will make your time and money work for you so that you and your marriage do not have to be a slave to time and the toll it takes when it is not spent intelligently. In today's era of podcasts, audiobooks, blogs, and the infinite searching capabilities of the World Wide Web, there are undoubtedly many resources on marriage and money that can be used as an excellent educator for resolving money matters in your relationship. From concepts that address emotional spending to creating wealth capture accounts, understanding different types of investments to the basics of teaching the value of a dollar. That's a whole nother topic. What value do our dollars have nowadays? Anyway, if you don't like the flow of your marriage currency, you can change its course. Your grade level will determine what type of information you need to start taking steps toward improving your financial situation. And there is no shame in seeking knowledge for growth, regardless of it being preschool basics or college essentials. Career students. It would behoove you to treat the constant study and application of your learning on relationships like it is a career. For students, on the other hand, who fail to ever enter the workforce, only accumulating degree upon degree, credits upon credits, never graduating past the literal classroom and entering the classroom of life, they have found a dangerous comfort in textbooks without ever stepping into the real world and the real life experience of the ideas they have applied themselves to studying. Forever attending the school of the theory and never showing up to the school of action are those who have puffed themselves up with knowledge for the sake of having knowledge. Life is cyclical, and like this book began with the fundamentals of applying what we learn, it will end on a similar note. Hope you have read those words with a purpose to improve. We all know a college student or two who is constantly changing their major, struggling to identify what they were born to do and what title they want to place on their perceived purpose in life. Bachelor of Science in this, Master of Arts in that. But can we say for sure that through it all, none of us wants to be lonely? And none of us wants to live in a lifelong toxic conflict of a marriage either. Your perfect mate isn't out there in the vast wide somewhere. She or he doesn't exist. No one is perfect, and no one comes pre-molded into the design you want to fit into your ideal of a spouse. Your perfect spouse lies inside of the person you married, and you have to chip away at the imperfections within each other until you have both changed into the image you desire for your life. Depending upon how much has to be broken down and rebuilt, the intensity and pain your marriage may cause you is a necessary process for your relationship. If it wasn't necessary, you wouldn't be going through it. It would be a lesson for someone else, somewhere else, in another relationship. So you don't have to look to God and ask, "Why me, Lord?" Rather, you should look to Him for guidance on how to properly manage the situation you are in because you put yourself there. If you have married someone who is grades below you in maturity, you are going to have to gird yourself in strength, patience, and peace, taking responsibility for your lack of wisdom and not discerning the immaturity in them before you decided to marry them. If you are attracted to the repetition of the messages I am communicating, it is because you know in your heart that understanding comes from hearing and hearing over and over again. A rebellious heart is quickly offended by repetition. Yet repetition is the highway to learning, and order is the concrete mixed perfectly to stabilize the columns that suspend the highway and keep it from collapsing. Insecure people will view order as control. But if they understood that order is the column, are the columns that hold the bridge to learning suspended in the air above the red lights and slower speeds of the streets below, they would respect order and seek to enrich their lives by it. If a teacher cannot manage the students, then the students can't be taught, and the purpose of the classroom is distorted. What married people fail to realize is that they can manage their marriage in very similar ways to a confident teacher that manages their classroom well. We have established the point that we can't control a person, but that doesn't mean that you can't have so much internal and external order in your life that those within your close circle, your classroom, are called into order as well. Either they are called to order by pure influence of the ever-present order in their midst, or they end up in another class, suspended, expelled, or sent away to an alternative school of learning altogether. We serve a God of order, the accurate arrangement of all things. When we are in order as individuals, knowing our place and purpose in our marriages, life will flow in order and be beneficial and enjoyable, not only to the married couple, but to their children, friends, family, and strangers who need their leadership as a mentor couple. Through the ordering of your marriage and finding yourself within your marriage, you will discover yourself on the grander scale of life and discover who you are destined to be. If a person's first focus is self-preservation, what their career should be, how they are going to make $1 million, buy their dream car, move to their dream house by the ocean, and become the person they dream of becoming before they focus on being a great wife or a great husband, they may thrive in their career, but lose everything else. They may or may not ever make it to their California, but they can choose to develop the relationship they are in and gain a teammate that is on board with working together to bring all desires into fruition. In the past year or two, I've been talking with wives, many in their second or third marriage, who are now so concerned with their own financial independence and self-preservation that they sacrifice their marriage and their children in the name of not having to depend on nor be accountable to anyone. So bank accounts are separate, her money is hers, but his maybe is theirs. She has gone just short of labeling her things with her name in order to preserve her identity and belongings, with a screaming mark of delineation and separation, all the while frustrated that her marriage is failing and held back a few grades. The irony of the matter is that when we surrender to each other in full trust, sharing the things that you do not want to lose of yourself in the marriage, your identity and belongings become even more definitively your own. It's when you snatch the toy and scream, "Mine!" that the horns come out of you both and things get ugly as you run around the classroom, separating your things and placing them out of reach, writing your name on everything. Basic kindergarten psychology teaches us that the kids that share are embraced and attract other sharers, while the ones who find security in their things are matched with another kid who wants to play tug of war over anything and everything in the classroom. What we covet is challenged and threatened continuously, but what we appreciate and are willing to share or release multiplies. I had to have a house fire and lose absolutely everything to learn this lesson. Don't let the lesson you demand from life be as harsh, because whatever it takes to chisel you into the mold God wants you to fit into will be. We get to decide the pain, intensity, and duration of such lessons. The faster you learn, the faster you get to move on and move up. Everything you are going through is preparing you for what you have asked for. If you want a marriage of an undying, unconditional love, passionate and supportive, you will have to go through the trials and tribulations to get to that person within yourself and within the person you married. You attract who you are. By the end of 12th grade, seniors in high school understand the importance of finances and the fact that their college education will hinge on their ability to manage money to pay for higher education, while sustaining their life from feeding their minds to feeding their stomachs. Education thus far has been free, and regardless of a desire to attend a university, community college, or trade school, paying to learn weeds out the dedicated students from the uncommitted. Seniors ready to progress to higher education and the next level of responsibilities in life understand that sacrifice and compromise are necessities of life. If they want their relationship with education to be taken seriously, they will apply themselves wholeheartedly as seniors and will hit the ground running as college students, fully aware that college will demand much more maturity and focus and willingness to change from the way life was as a high school student. How much tuition are you willing to pay to earn a college level marriage? That was chapter 14, Senior Year. Thank you so much for listening, and join me again for the last chapter of Growing into a Mature Marriage in our next Audible video, chapter 15, College.